So I've heard a lot of people be real critical of Valentina Shevchenko's performance over this past weekend. And I gotta say, I definitely disagree with the criticism here. So the main critique against Shevchenko in this one is that she never really got out of first gear and never really made a concerted effort to try to finish Carmouche. But I would argue that the onus was on Carmouche to really try to push the action in that fight. I mean, the fact is that Shevchenko was winning that fight from the first minute. Now, she wasn't winning that fight by a super wide margin. She was winning the fight by a small margin the entire time. But nevertheless, Carmouche was in a deficit. And she really never made an effort to close that gap and try to erase the deficit that Shevchenko created. So Shevchenko just sat in first gear the whole time, but with a consistent advantage over Carmouche the whole time. So, of course, the onus is on Carmouche to try to push the action and try to make something happen. But Carmouche competitively, it seemed like maybe she was content to lose the fight by decision. And by that, I mean, she was willing to just hang in there and wait for an opportunity to present itself, wait for Valentina Shevchenko to maybe overextend or create some kind of opening for Carmouche's offense, and at that point Carmouche would be able to capitalize and win the fight. But if that opportunity never presents itself, Carmouche is fine just losing the decision. So I don't understand how you could critique Valentina Shevchenko in that case. I mean, Carmouche only landed 18 strikes in the entire fight. She only landed 2 strikes over the final 2 rounds. And if I'm being honest, this fight kind of reminded me of Anderson Silva versus Thales Leites. And, I'm drawing the comparison really between Valentina Shevchenko and Anderson Silva here because So Anderson Silva in his UFC career leading up to that fight had finished all of his opponents. Everybody, he was just this unstoppable dominator that was, heralded and was finishing everybody, and everybody loved to watch compete. And he got built up so much that when that was kind of a stinker of a performance, everybody started kind of writing him off immediately after that and wondering about his, instincts to kill and everything like that. And I think then after that, we saw Anderson Silva go, on another monumental run, finishing many, many opponents. Obviously, the Damian Maia decision. But besides the Damian Maia decision, until he lost the belt, he finished every single person that he fought. And I think we can look forward to more performances like that from Shevchenko in the future. And it's really just the bad style matchup that made a bad fight. Same thing with that Thales Leites Anderson Silva fight. It was just a bad style matchup. And the person who was losing the fight, Carmouche or Leites, never really overextended themselves to push the action, even though they were in a consistent small deficit the entire fight. So Shevchenko pitched a 5-0 shutout in that fight. So I don't know how you can, dock her for that. I still think she's the number 1 pound-for-pound girl on the planet. I think she defeated Amanda Nunes in their past fight, and she outstruck Amanda Nunes for basically the entire fight. So I think there's only one real way, in my eyes. In women's MMA, I think there's only one way to defeat Valentina Shevchenko at this juncture. I don't think anybody's going to outstrike her. I don't even think you're going to really out-wrestle her per se. Like, if you wrestle her and take her to the ground, she has that Anderson Silva in her where she's going to find a submission if you wrestle her and take her to the ground, just like she did against Juliana Pena, a stronger, bigger wrestler girl who she just snatched that armbar like super fast on. So she's going to outstrike you. She's going to, if you want to stand with her, if you want to wrestle her to the ground in any kind of open space, which, that's a tall task because Valentina's so explosive, but if you can get her on her back, she's very likely to try to submit you. So I think the only path to victory that I see is through a sort of wall install type of technique that you kind of saw Amanda Nunes play a little bit in the 5th round of their fight. And if you look up and down the UFC's flyweight division through the rankings, there's only one girl that I could possibly imagine employing that type of a wall install game plan on that has the physical strength and the grappling pedigree to be able to potentially employ that game plan, and that is Liz Carmouche. So I really think that this was the worst kind of style matchup for Shevchenko. Shevchenko was content to win the fight while pitching a shutout. She wasn't going to overextend herself and put herself in any kind of risk. I applaud that performance. That's the kind of performance that media personnel would have applauded GSP for back in his day and said, oh, what a cerebral fighter, what a smart fighter. So I'm going to say that about Shevchenko. What a cerebral fighter, what a smart fighter, what a talented fighter. And I believe she has many exciting finishes and exciting performances in her future. And this is sort of the talus latest of her career, where it was just a one-off, unexciting fight. If somebody else wants to, it has a similar skill set to Carmouche and, doesn't want to press the action, we could see a fight like that again with Shevchenko, because she's content to win, defend her belt, continue to build on her UFC title defense record, try to, eclipse, I believe Joanna Jędrzejczyk has the record with 6 title defenses. I believe that's correct. So, work towards her title defense ultimate goal. That's her second championship payday in 2 months. So good for Valentina. I think that, like I said, I think she has many exciting fights and finishes in front of her. So I think that this is going to be a blip on the radar. We're going to forget that this fight even happened someday soon. And like I said, I don't think that there's anybody in the flyweight ranking that I look at, if you look up and down the rankings, that is going to be able to employ the style to beat Shevchenko. So who would you like to see her fight next? That is Valentina Shevchenko, because I'm not really sure who she should fight next. I don't really know who makes sense for her to fight next. Caitlin Chukagian. I'm not that interested in that fight. Who are you interested in seeing Shevchenko fight next? Do you agree that the onus was on Carmouche to try to push the action? Do you think that it was a respectable performance by Shevchenko, or do you think Shevchenko should have done a little bit more to try to press the action herself? Please comment below, answer those questions. Any other topics that you're interested in, shoot in the comments below. I'll always make sure to respond to them, and if they're interesting enough, I'll make a video directly talking about some of the comments that you might make. To try to create more of a fan dialogue between me and anybody who's potentially watching these videos. So comment below, please. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Empey Talks. All socials are going to be in the description box down below. And until next time, cheers, friends.